Hello, and thanks for joining me tonight. My name is Mike Tellerino, CEO of Canine for Veterans. Tonight, I've got uh, Zach Jett, who is our spokesperson for Canine, and we got Shay Selena, veteran with a service dog, Joey. Tonight, we're going to talk about what a service dog actually does for a veteran, how it helps you. Shay, why don't you start out by telling us about your initial contact with Joey?
Don't have any sound from Shay.
What?
Can you hear me
I
now?
can't hear Shay.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we're having audio issues tonight, so I apologize. So,
Well,
Shay, can
my name is Shay Salins. I'm a 51-year-old Navy veteran that has PTSD, MST, anxiety, depression, and several other mental disorders. Um, I started my process of getting my help for my PTSD in 2016 when I got a DUI, and that opened my eyes because I could have killed somebody. I wasn't worried about myself, but the fact that when I got pulled over and told how intoxicated I was, I realized I had a problem. I could have killed somebody and took somebody's life that didn't deserve it because I was being stupid. So I started a process of going. I put myself in Heinz VA Hospital in Two South, which is where we go for veterans that are suicidal and need help with addictions. You spend anywhere from 2 days, 2 weeks to whenever you're ready to really be released, that you know you're safe. While I was in the program, I reached out to Mike because I see Mike through the other programs I've been involved with at the VA, and I told him I reached out, and told him that I was in the program. I'm finally getting the help I need, and what's the process I needed to go through to get a service dog for me. And at that time, I was homeless, so it was kind of hard for me to get even think about getting a service dog. Mike said, "When you get on your feet, when you get your place, let me know." 2 weeks after I talked to Mike, I got my place. And after I got my dog, I started working for a company called G&W. I ended up having an episode at work, and I ended up losing my job, which in the end it would end up being a blessing. I ended up going back and get more treatment and everything else. Well, I before I got on my treatment, I lost relationships with my kids. I lost relationship with my family. I lost who I was. I'm still struggling who I am. Give me 1 second, guys. I got this will explain everything to you. Can you guys see this?
Yeah, a little bit.
a little
It,
bit?
I made this. It's what it is. It's a face that has a normal face. What it symbolizes for me, I show the world the normal person that everybody that thinks is strong, that everybody can depend on, that it is okay with everything, and I'm not struggling with the stuff I'm having inside. On the other side of the mask, it is a demon mask, which I call my monster. And by my monster, I don't mean like in horror movies. I mean the monster that did that did whatever it took to come home to my family. And I even used that mentality when I came home. When I came home, I lost who I was. I kept changing who I was to make relationships work, making jobs work, making other things work. So I became all these different pieces, and that mask is showing all of the demons, all the pieces, because at some point in my life before I die. I want to show the world all the broken pieces of me, because that is what really makes me who I am. It's all those broken pieces. Me losing my family, me losing my job, not knowing who I was. And part of the reason I'm actually sitting here right now, be able to do this conversation, are these two gentlemen on the screen here and a lady behind me and my service dog. Without these people, I would not be sitting here, because I didn't believe in myself. Because all I saw when I looked in the mirror was that monster that I hid, and I still hide somewhat today. But that monster is what made me who I am today. I've seen the worst of the world between combat, being a gang member, being in the motorcycle club world, being in prison. I've seen the worst of the world. I've been the worst of the world.
Well, Shay, you've come a long way, I have to tell you.
I've come a long way. But that's my backstory. Since I've gotten Joey, I've been with Amazon over 3 years. This is the first time since I've been home, beside having my own company, that I've had a job this long.
Yeah, it's
And
amazing whenever you're
also,
dealing with this stuff. It's really rough at times, Shay. And I feel you 100%, because whenever I was first coming into the program, I wasn't my normal self. I was struggling with my own demons, and it's rough. And the easiest way to put it, like you said, is you have two sides. You have the side that you show everybody else, and you have the side that you keep on the inside that you don't want to show anybody. And the program helps get you back a little bit more to a normal life. But the hardest part is trying to let that demon show just a little bit to ease up that pain.
yes. And that's where this comes from. Where this comes from. This is my way of showing. I changed myself, and this is a way of showing there's two parts of me, and also symbolizes purple for suicide awareness and the teal for PTSD awareness. And people ask me all the time, what's the purple? Why do you wear your beard? For me, it's when I look in the mirror, I can see where I've come in the last 5 years. 5 years ago, I wouldn't be sitting right here. I don't think I would have been sitting here having this conversation with you guys, holding a job, back in college, going from my degree in psychology, so I can continue doing what you guys are doing. I want to let other runners know, no matter what our issues are, there are ways we can beat this. We don't need to hide in the corners. We don't need to hide in the dark anymore. There are people like myself that struggle with it every day. Yourself, Zach. We've been to this road together for a while now.
Absolutely.
We both have grown dramatically since we became friends and a family through K9.
Yeah,
we both have.
And that's the thing is that, you know, a lot of people don't understand whenever they first come in that we don't treat everybody as they're another number like we did whenever we were in the military. We treat each other like we're family. We treat each other. If you ever have an issue, feel free to bring it up to us, because a lot of us have dealt with these issues for years. And whenever we sit here and we try and help each other out just by talking a little bit, maybe I did something in my past that would help you out a little bit, and vice versa. You know,
exactly.
That's what we all have our own demons to fight. We all have our own issues to overcome. But the biggest thing is that we sit here and we try and help each other out. The dogs help out tremendously on a day-to-day basis, but every now and then you need to sit down and talk to somebody else.
How has training with your service dog and working with other veterans in the training program, has that helped you at all? Like, just get out there more?
It's you can't. I can't speak for Zach, but for me, you know, it was hard. Like You know me from the beginning, Mike. I was a person that really wouldn't really talk. I would sit in the background. I would watch everything. And since I've gotten Joey and got into the program with K9 and started the training with Joey, I've learned that I'm not alone anymore. I like how I always felt. I felt like no one could understand what's going on in my head. No one can understand why I sit up in the middle of the night, cry, why I sit in the dark on the back porch. But when I started there and just see other runners smile, knowing that they're going through the same thing, looking at their dogs, to see that it changed my way how I look at the world, how I look at my other veterans, and this is a part of the reason I do what I do with Canine. I every chance I get to talk about how my life has changed since I've gotten Joey, and it's hard. Mike, but I it's hard as hell to do this, but I do it because I deal with all the aftermath. Oh, I gotta after I get off there, I'm gonna go sit in the dark room. But if I can reach one person that has PTSD, MST, any other mental disorder that I deal with on a daily basis, to let them know they are not alone in this battle. There are programs that are out here to help us for us veterans and for the first responders that are out there. K9 Veteran is an organization that will give you the thing that you need the most. Somebody that you can sit there in your darkest and when you can't talk to anybody else. I'll use an example from my dog. I had an episode the other day because there were fireworks were going off at my house, and I can sit there and scream and holler at him and he'll just sit there and wag his tail. As soon as I stop talking, he comes up, puts his head in my lap. Okay, you done? Forget about it. Pay attention to me. I don't know if I can deal with the other stuff if I didn't have him. Honestly.
Yeah, it's
Zach, Zach, you're at the training center training with your service dog. You get to see these veterans when they first come into the program.
yeah,
Then I mean, I know I've watched them progress from when they first come in to 3 4 months down the road. They're a different person. They have really changed in every way. I mean, they
yeah,
become
and
more outgoing. I think they form a bond with the other veterans because they're all going through the same thing. It's easier for a veteran to make friends with somebody who's been down that awful road than it is to somebody who's never been there.
yeah, and
So
Mike, the biggest thing is the entire time we're going through the VA or while we were in the military, we always heard about going to group therapy. We were told to go do this, to go do that. Um, Canines works similar, but we don't put a label on it. We don't force anybody to talk about their issues. We don't force anybody to go in and tell them how we did this week and how many issues we had and how many days we had that we just sat in a dark room and watched TV all day. If you come in and you have an issue and you want to talk about it, anybody that's there at the facility, even the trainer Kate or Kyle, Ken, they will sit down and talk to a veteran if they really need somebody to talk
right.
to, and all of us will talk independently about ourselves to each other, and we'll share a little bit of, hey, I really had a rough week this week, and we'll try and work through some of those problems together. I've given my number out to almost every veteran in the program at this point. Walked up to them, shook their hand, gave them
There's
my phone number.
definitely a form of camaraderie among our veterans that are training. And I think that, along with their service dog, makes a huge impact on their daily, everyday life.
Yeah, I
Absolutely.
agree. Yeah. Like you say, Mike and Zach, when started, I kind of felt like I didn't belong anywhere. Or I didn't know how comfortable I would be going to a place I didn't know anybody, especially even though I got my dog. but when I started going to the training, it was unbelievable. The connection that the trainers have, the whole staff at K9 had towards us veterans. You know, I've been with a K9 since 2019, and my bond with them is growing and growing, unbelievable. You
Zach, you
know,
Zach, you recently had to retire your service dog.
Yeah.
And that dog always smiled. I love that dog. That
Yes.
dog had a smile on his face for everything.
Yeah.
Um,
yep.
how hard was the transition going from the service dog you had to, and the new one you have is remarkable as well.
Uh, the transition process, it sucked, to put it blatantly, um, because it was more of a last minute retirement and jump right back into training a new dog. Rocky was a great dog. He did everything I needed him to, and then we were starting to work on more additional stuff at this point.
Rocky was great.
Yes.
And back in February, we noticed that Rocky just wasn't acting like his normal self. He was starting to bump into stuff, and called Kate. Kate lives down the road from my house, so she came over and she'd had a look at Rocky's eyes, and they were starting to get really foggy. So he's starting to lose his vision. So we made the determination that it would be best if we stopped working Rocky at that time because of the accidents that may arise if he gets spooked. It was more of a liability thing and safety thing than anything else. So that day I retired Rocky. On Sunday, I went and picked up a new dog from the Chicago Center and started all over fresh from scratch. And, you know, there was about a 2 month time frame there that I had when I was going out in public and I didn't have a dog to go with me because Rocky was retired at that point and Drago wasn't ready. And I really busted my butt. I tried to do my best to get a dog trained up enough to where he could go and be out in public a little bit.
Yeah, it's a
Actually,
transition.
that's
It
my
really
my
is.
biggest fear now. You know, I'm so dependent on Joey to go out. I'm so dependent to just to function, to go to work, go to the grocery store, and, you know, and that and I'm scared to death.
Shay, you were able to bring your dog to work with you, your service dog to work with
Yes,
you.
he goes to
Was
work with
that a
me every
was
day.
that a process to get approved?
It was it was a it was a learning process for me in Amazon because I am the first veteran in Amazon's history with a service dog, and at my facility, I am the first person with a service animal. So it's a learning experience, a great learning experience for me and Amazon. I've had my ups and downs with them, you know, but they actually they've gone all the way to help me to come to work every day with my service dog. They make sure that I have an area that is safe for my dog.
Yeah, you
I
two
get
are a great team. I love Joey. Joey's a trip. And when I see the bond with our veterans and their service animal, it just it does my heart great because I see the difference that it makes every day in their lives. I mean, Zach, you've come such a long way. Now you're a spokesperson for Canine, and Shay, you too. I call on you to go to events for us to represent Canine, to go and speak at a group if we need you. You're always there to help us and stuff. I get it, and it's great. But you wouldn't have been able to do that a year ago.
N- no, no. I yeah, a year ago I would have been able to do it. 5 years ago, no. 6 years ago, no. But since I've started the process of getting the help from my PTSD and having my girlfriend and Joey, because
Well, you know, your service dog is a big part of helping you get through
yes,
the day. But I got
he's
to
a
tell you, you have to have a great support system at home as well.
you
And
Yes.
you've
yeah,
got a
you
great
have to
support. Zach,
you
your wife
you
is amazing.
you
She's
got
just,
it. Yeah,
She's
you
just
gotta
there
have
for you 101%. Shay, your girl's there for you
the, you know,
101%. And
exactly.
that it takes that.
It's funny you talk about mine and Zach's other halves. You got everybody talks about us veterans with the PTSD. And it talks about us, our service side. But the one thing, a lot of us, I know there's times I forget. Without my girlfriend or Zach with Brittany, we we couldn't do this. There's times that the dog is it's not enough. It takes the support of a voice or a touch from something else to get you through that point.
Yeah.
And everybody thanks us for our service, and everything that we. And I want to tell everybody, you know what? We need to thank our significant others because they deal with us. They don't. They see, like I said, that monster. They see that monster. They see when we're in our darkest and at the bottom. But they've never turned their back on us. They pick us. They may let us hang there in the dark in the pit, but they will never let us go. And when it's time for us to come up, they help us back up.
Yeah. And Shay, the best thing I ever heard, Luis. We were out speaking to a school, and he actually brought up a good point that I never really did. That our families go through it just as much as we do, and
Yep.
the support system that we have to have behind us is very crucial because we never really know what's going to happen 20 minutes from now. We may be doing perfectly fine all day, and then 20 minutes later, we are having the biggest meltdown in the world, and we can't get it under control, and that takes a toll on the family aspect. And like you said, the dogs go a long way, and they help out a lot on the day-to-day basis. But at the end of the day, they're just one more tool in our toolbox to help us get through the day. Don't get me wrong, my dogs are all spoiled rotten. I treat them all really well, but
Yeah. Joey too.
they can only work so much. And once we push them past that threshold, how long is it going to be until they're able to work again?
Right.
So, yeah, it's a very very big deal to be able to take these dogs out in public and help us throughout the day. And whenever we get home, my dog gets treated like a dog whenever he comes home.
His nickname at home, Joey's nickname at home, is Knucklehead because he does not listen for crap. We got three cats. Soon as one of the cats he'll jump off the stairs or jump off the thing, he wants to go play with them. He won't play. He won't do. But out in public, he is the perfect example of what a service animal is. But once he gets home and that vest comes off, he is Knucklehead.
Yep.
Guys, I gotta apologize. I want to apologize for people that may be listening to this, and I'm having really a lot of audio issues. I can barely hear you guys. So if I'm cutting you off in mid sentence, I apologize. We're going to do this podcast again as soon as I figure out the audio, what's going on with it. It's terrible. I'm trying to filter in, filter out what we're saying. I've
The
tried
biggest thing.
everything I can think of. I'm going to have to call somebody who knows a lot more than I do because it's just terrible that I can't really make out what you guys are saying. So I apologize, and we're going to do this again. And so thank you for being on tonight. Sorry we're having these technical issues, but I tried. Guys, thank you for being here tonight. Jack, you're always on top of things for K9. And Shay, thank you for always being there for K9. You're always there when I call you, always there when I need you. It's really awesome what you do for us.
Like I said, you guys saved my life, and there's no other way I can pay you. There's no money, no words can show you how grateful I am for that.
You've come a long way. You've come a long way.
The only way I can pay you back by saving my life is saving another veteran's life or a first responder's life.
Well, that's what this is all about. helping each other, helping other veterans and stuff. And what Zach does by going out and talking to people, spreading the word about PTSD, letting other veterans know, like yourself, that there's help out there,
Yep.
and that it's not. You can ask for help. It doesn't make you less of a man by asking for help, and you're
My
never
biggest
going to
thing.
get better unless you ask for help.
My biggest thing, if
Because
you
with
get whoever,
PTSD, you're not going to do it on your own. You know that.
right,
You got to get
whoever is
help.
watching and listening,
Got to have a support team. Guys, this is making me crazy that I can't hear. So again,
one
I
second, Mike.
apologize. We'll do this again soon.
Whoever's listening and watching, the biggest thing, if you get anything out of this podcast, especially for the first responders, if you reach out for help, you are not weak. You are strong because you know you're something. And there are people and programs that are out there to help you. All you got to do is ask, and
Reach out.
somebody will reach out and help you. If myself, Zach, or K9 Veteran, we will be there for you.
God bless you guys. Thank you for helping me get the word out. Like I said, we're going to do this again when I can hear you.
All right, Mike. Sounds good.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Have a good night.